of Live this afternoon. There's a lot of politics on GoLocalProp.com right now pertaining to the statewide poll conducted by John Della Volpe. Be sure to check it out after you watch us here at the State House. I'd like to welcome Mike Stenhouse with the Rhode Island Center for Freedom and Prosperity, a familiar face, and an issue that we touched upon before here a little bit that you are delving deeper into. We had Representative Justin Price on pertaining to civil asset forfeiture. Now, his bill specifically was looking at fisheries. If fishermen had product seized, equipment seized, that they'd have some recourse to be able to maintain their livelihood. But you're really delving deep into this issue of civil asset forfeiture and the rights of citizens to maintain what's rightfully theirs, but then also what happens when it gets seized as well is a question that you're asking.
Yeah, so we're proposing to completely rewrite the asset forfeiture laws in our state. Right now, you've got a situation, it's a toxic situation where you have very high amount of regulations on businesses, not criminal activity, just regulations. And when some of those regulations are forfeited, in the case, for an example, of fishermen, they can have their private property seized even if they're not guilty, even if they're just suspected of some technical licensing or permit violation. And of the video we show, we encourage you to go to our website, rifreedom.org. Right at the top, you'll be outraged when you see what's happened to some of these fishermen. But this happens to private citizens and other businesses too. Listen, civil asset forfeiture is a valuable law enforcement tool when it's applied to criminals. But when innocent people who are merely suspected of a crime or there's some question of some kind of administrative regulatory violation have their assets seized, and then even further infuriating, if they're proven innocent and they can't get their assets back, how can that be fair in our society today?
And so as you're talking about this potential to rewrite or look at it from an entirely new perspective, you also want to track where these assets end up going, especially in the case of let's talk about a catch seizure. You got to do something with those fish. They need to be sold. But then what happens after that?
That's a good question. We're trying to find out. Right now, the Attorney General's office is not cooperating with us. We've put out requests for information. We do know that the DEM, with regard to the fishermen, the DEM capture the fish unjustly, of course. They have to sell it. You can't keep fish around for very long. I think we all know how that would turn out. And then the money goes somewhere, apparently into some account managed by the Attorney General's office, and we have no idea what happened to that money, how it's dispensed, what it's used for, because often, as we've said, it's not returned even when there's an innocent business person. So our bill would not only protect private property owners, lower the bar for when seizures can be made in the first place. I mean, heighten the bar there, lower the bar for when innocent people can get it back, but it also opens up government transparency so we find out exactly what's going on with this sometimes very unjust seizure.
And so, as you suggested, reworking it all together, what are you hearing from lawmakers and supporters of this? How would the process even begin to rethink of how this looks?
We've gotten broad support. We've got a lobbyist on it who reports broad support, but we do have opposition from the Attorney General's office, and we do have opposition from existing law enforcement. They're used to doing business that way. It's not that they want to unjustly seize property from everybody, but it's the way they've been doing business for decades. By the way, Rhode Island's laws are rated a D- nationally in this, so we're not just like making up a problem here. This is a real problem in our state right now. Law enforcement doesn't want to change. They have a lot of sway in the General Assembly. We don't know how the legislation is going to turn out this year, but they're the only opponents. This is one of those rare issues where the far left, the far right, and everybody in between agree, except for the established status quo. They're the only ones that want to protect the current way of doing business.
Well, as you said, you spoke with this fisherman, and we'll be able to provide that video as well after the fact. If you're curious as to one Rhode Islander story about going through, his story, what did you think when you heard it?
I was outraged. We talk about 3 examples where for some mere question about some kind of license or permit issue, that thousands and thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars of their catch is seized by the DEM, and they got to go through hell to get it back, or they never get it back when they really didn't make a violation in the first place. Certainly, they didn't do anything criminal. So to have Rhode Island's fishermen, any private citizen, any business treated like a criminal for some mere technical violation, just not acceptable.
Well, we're going to continue to follow this issue up here at the Rhode Island State House. We're in the waning days here.
Yes, we're going to find out pretty soon.
Well, I appreciate, because this is a big issue for the center that you've been on a campaign letting folks know about. We'll provide more links as well on GoLocal too. And Mike, I'm sure we'll be talking
Yeah,
soon.
one last note. This is part of the Justice Reinvestment Initiative. It's a whole package of bills that were passed last year. So we did pass bills last year. We're looking to do more. This is, again, something with bipartisan support. Thank you,
Okay,
Kate.
Mike Stenhouse, thank you for your time. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back here at the Rhode Island State House.